Lucky wasn't the kind of dog people noticed at first. In a crowded shelter filled with barking, jumping dogs, he just sat in the corner, quiet and still, his golden brown eyes fixed on the door. No whining, no tail wagging, just waiting. And maybe that's why Emily stopped. She'd volunteered at the shelter for months, walking countless dogs, but something about Lucky held her there a little longer. She checked his chart, found as a stray, severely underweight, a limp in his back leg likely, from an old injury that never healed right. He had scars too, little reminders of a life no dog should have to live. And worst of all, his time was running out. The shelter was full, and space was needed. Lucky had just days left. Emily clipped a leash onto his collar and led him outside. No pulling, no hesitation, he simply walked beside her, as if they had done this 100 times before. When she stopped, he sat. When she knelt, he pressed his head into her chest. And in that moment, Emily knew she couldn't let him go. The next morning, she was the first one at the shelter. The adoption paperwork took time, but her mind was already made up. By the afternoon, Lucky was in her car. Most dogs were anxious on their first ride home, but Lucky? He just sat there, staring out the window, his tail wagging ever so slightly, as if he knew this time he wasn't being left behind. At home, he didn't run around sniffing everything. He simply found a spot by Emily's feet, let out a deep sigh, and closed his eyes. That night, for the first time in who knows how long, Lucky slept peacefully. Days turned into weeks, and Lucky transformed. His coat grew shinier, his eyes brighter. He ran, he played, he learned to trust. But one thing never changed. They never left Emily's side. If she moved, he followed. If she sat, he curled up next to her, pressing against her just enough to remind himself that she was real, that she wasn't going anywhere. And then came the picture. One evening, Emily sat on the couch, reading. Lucky had his own bed, even an open spot beside her, but instead, he climbed onto the couch and pressed himself right against her, resting his head on her lap. Her friend snapped a photo, and within days, it spread online. People saw what Emily had seen from the start. Lucky hadn't just been searching for a home. He had been searching for his person. Now, every wag of his tail, every nuzzle, every happy bark is his way of saying thank you. And he means it.